Friendship supreme. Friendship supreme. Finding the geek within.
Hey everybody, I'm Michael.
This is Cleve.
This is Stephanie.
Hey, welcome back to another exciting episode of Friendship. It's like it launched in the air and came back down. We're the podcast that dares to ask, does anybody actually find Spider-Man funny?
It depends on what the joke's about, my friend.
Well, that's fair.
That's what today's
Funny
episode's
looking.
about. Oh, snap. She's talking about that amazing Spider-Man suit. Today's episode is about Spider Bully and the cancel culture wanting to cancel Spider-Man.
Okay.
I don't know
First
if
time
either
I've
of you
ever
have heard of
liked the
this.
cancel culture. All right, let's
That's
get
a
on board.
thing?
So they are upset because Spider-Man will tend to kind of make fat jokes sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So I have some pictures that I will share with you.
As a delegate of the fat people, I fully pardon him
Oh, that's nice of you.
without even looking.
Without even seeing the evidence.
Without even seeing it, I'll pardon him. It's
So-
probably when he's fighting Kingpin.
Oh yeah, he comes up.
He's a
So
beefy boy.
let's start easy. This one says, "Ugh, smells like sweaty fat guys and burritos in here. No offense to burritos." This is from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game.
Well,
How do you feel about that?
question:
Okay.
Did it smell like fat guys?
Well, it's a video game, so it's hard
What?
to tell.
What do fat guys smell like? Okay, so actually, this is funny because
Sweaty
and I've had this
and BO?
conversation before, and actually, I think we might have had this conversation on this podcast. But as a big person, there is this stigma that if there's a stench, it is from the big people.
You're talking about that gas pass.
It depends. Well, right. Either gas, or the other thing is, interestingly enough, you can get to a point of obesity where you can't actually properly shower and bathe yourself, and thus, like, bacteria grows on you. Essentially,
Gotcha,
it's like
gotcha.
that's when it's medically like, hey, you need to,
Ah,
figure
Well,
some shit out.
what was
quickly.
that when he was like, "I wash myself with a rag on a stick"?
But basically, yeah. I mean, there are people in this world that can't bathe themselves correctly.
That
So
that joke didn't age well either. But nobody's trying to cancel the
right.
saying, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say like, hey, let's get rid of them for this. I mean,
Okay. Well, let's turn up the heat a little bit.
okay.
Also, it sounds like he's talking about farts because
It
That
could
guy's
be,
eating
'cause he
burritos?
also brought up the burritos.
But then
yeah,
why fat guys? It smells like
Well,
farts and
you know.
burritos.
maybe
Smells
they're
like
getting extra
burritos.
farts.
It smells like
fucking
burrito
mad
farts.
I ain't fucking mad about the stereotype that I eat burritos because I do.
Okay. Kingpin has a trap door. You can take the blame. Fat chance. A little more timid.
Common phrase.
Right, but it's bolted.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
how
it's
you,
like
that's how you know it's meant for him.
Yeah, okay. Well, Kingpin knows what's up.
Okay.
Kingpin knows where he's at.
Okay. Let's get in here a little more.
Wait,
Yeah.
Bobby Duke. Is it Bobby Dukes? What's the blob's name? I feel like it's Bobby something.
Nobody cares about the blob man.
Okay.
He says, "You are so fat that when you cut yourself, marshmallow fluff comes out."
Okay. So he went with an old school, your mama's, you're so fat joke.
And then, of course, Kingpin doesn't like that. And he goes, "No? Okay, how about this one? You're so fat that your high school yearbook photo takes up taken from a helicopter." Oh, rough room. Okay, how about you're so fat that when you get on a scale, it says 1 at a time. And then Kingpin gets so angry.
Okay. So here's my thoughts on these ones.
Oh, there's still one more joke.
Oh,
Wait. How about this one? Your belly button makes an echo. If you wear a truck, you could have a wide load sign. If you were a truck, you could have a wide load sign. When you back up, you can hear a beeping sound.
Okay. So, something important to take into consideration on that panel specifically
That was from the Ultimate Spider-Man, by the way. Keep going.
is he was wearing a backpack and he was a child
Okay.
at high school age.
Okay.
I have heard every one of those except for the yearbook one personally directed at me. The yearbook one was kind of funny.
The belly button echo one?
Oh no, that's a weird. That's not even a joke. That's just
Because your belly button's a cave.
but there are skinny people who have fucking huge belly buttons. So
I guess that's fair.
My belly button's pretty weird.
Okay, well now hold on a second. Now I need to know what it looks like.
On the podcast.
I can't say shit
on
like
the
that.
podcast.
Damn it.
Keep going.
That's all I'm gonna think about the whole fucking
No.
episode now.
Don't
What kind of
lose track,
weird
dog. Let's keep going.
circus shows going on. Anyway, but I would say that he's a kid, so I mean that unfortunately is the type of stuff that kids said. And it's already been that. When did this comic book come out? You remember?
I don't.
That's okay.
But it's Ultimate Comics, which no longer exists. When Peter Parker was still alive, which was before 2011.
Okay, so I mean this is my problem with cancel culture in general is that it happened already. Like it's not like it's currently happening, and maybe you'll show me one that is currently happening. But I would tell you that they're a lot more careful about shit like this. But also, he's fighting a villain who is trying to kill him, and he makes some jabs at him. In fairness, one could say that this is actually a tactic in which he is trying to get him so upset by insulting him that he's going to do something without thinking about it.
Right. You are correct. I do have one more I'm trying to pull up. Give me a second. What about this one?
Ooh. This is, I already know what it is. So I can't hear it that well. Stephanie, can you hear it that well?
No.
So what he says is, that's a nice costume. Did your husband make it for you, I think?
Yes, he did.
So, it's early 2000s, what, 2003?
2002, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't age well.
Didn't, but it, again, like, so what are you going to do? What are they saying? We go back and we don't let that movie sell anymore? I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to be heartbroken about it.
So these are fair opinions and opinions I've had as well. I did want to break down first. Let's talk about Kingpin right quick. He is like 3% body fat. They compare him more to like a muscular sumo wrestler more than fat.
Yeah, more like the Mountain from Game of Thrones.
he's like all muscle.
Yeah.
So he's not fat, but you're making fat jokes, and he makes a lot of fat jokes at Kingpin. I'm not Kingpin. I'm sorry. Doc Ock. He gets a lot of
a little
fat
out
jokes.
of shape.
He is. He's just fat. Like there's no like, oh, he's
got some
actually
punch.
yeah. So some tweets came out in August from Dan Slott, Slott. Here's Dan's credentials. He has written for Fantastic Four, Arkham Asylum, Living Hell, She-Hulk, Silver Surfer, Superior Spider-Man, Tony Stark Iron Man, The Mighty Avengers, Batman Adventures, Ren and Stimpy, and he wrote for The Amazing Spider-Man for 10 years, including writing for some Spider-Man games. So you can't push away anything he's got to say about Spider-Man because he wrote for Spider-Man for 10 years. I'm going to read some of his tweets.
Oh God, this is not good.
Yes. Take a deep breath because it's going to take a minute.
The James Gunn situation all over again.
Spider Rant. It bugs me when Spider-Man fans say that Spidey only uses his joke/quips to disorient his opponents. That is one way Spidey uses his sense of humor. Spidey's sense of humor is one of the most versatile tools in his arsenal. It's practically one of his superpowers. He goes on to say, these are several tweets, so buckle up. He goes on to say he also uses his sense of humor to distract civilians when they're in a stressful situation, to amuse himself and put himself at ease, to make himself appear foolish, to be underestimated by opponents, to strike back at jerks like J. Jonah Jameson, who he can't physically attack, and of course, to goof around and kind of bond with other superheroes, even though most of them don't really find him that funny. He goes on to say, "Trust me, there's a zillion ways that Spidey can uses his sense of humor in every story. It is not just for getting on bad guys' nerves." So, I'm gonna take a breath because we're still going. One problem with Spidey's jokes over the years, a lot of them do not age well. Like all the fat shaming jokes he's done on Kingpin and Doc Ock, or the jokes that he makes to Bonesaw in the first Spider-Man movie. That was not good. Almost feel like it should have come with a disclaimer. And I found a YouTube video where a guy took that one. You see how many I'm reading, and I'm still going. He took that one. He was like, "This is the dumbest comment. It makes no sense. He didn't know what he's talking about." And I'm like, "This is Dan's
You gotta
he
read
wrote
the
the
rest
comic
of them.
Well, and he wrote this character for 10 years. If he
Right.
feels this way, he's implemented it somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It says, "Hi, people who are new to the post. This is never about the fictional people that Spider-Man was insulting." So it's very clear. Because he's insulting killers or murderers. Who cares? Right?
hmm
Who cares if Doc Ock gets his feelings hurt because he's chubby when he's mass murdering half of Manhattan and Queens?
Right, like because what you showed us seemed like it was just his way to throw off villains, basically.
Right. Which it is.
Get them angry.
It is, for sure. So he says it was about the audience, especially the younger audience who might share innate traits with the characters that Spider-Man is mocking. He says, I get how and why Spidey insults his foes. Honest, I wrote the character for over 10 years. In fact, the post that we're all commenting on spun out of a thread where I was talking about this exact point." And then he refers back to one of his old ones. Um, it's not about Kingpin. It's not about feeling bad for Kingpin. It's about feeling bad for the overweight kid who's a Spider-Man fan and reading the book. Same way that Bonesaw gag in the first Spider-Man movie might have made kids in the audience feel bad about themselves as well. Still going, so bear with me. Good, but I want you to get his full opinion here. Let's be clear. If there is a very specific, if these very specific kinds of jokes, ones about innate traits that younger readers might share, body image, sexual identity, for example, were no longer made by Spidey, not Deadpool, not, so on and so forth, just Spider-Man, you wouldn't miss them. Why? See next post. Because 99.99% of Spider-Man mocking quips to villains are making fun of their costume, making fun of their name, making fun of what they just said, making fun of how loopy their master plan is, making fun of the fact that they are a lizard, which is the actual post. It says, a lot of you are dying on a very small hill. So, if I'm wrong, what's the harm? So Spidey tells different jokes in some panels, and maybe they're not as funny. If I'm right, what's the benefit? Young readers who won't feel that Spider-Man's mocking them for who they are. Why not err on the side of kindness? And he refers to a very big Spider-Man fan who is quoted say, "With great power comes great responsibility." And the next picture I will refer to is not the one I clicked on. Ooh, this is very small. So, no, you interrupted me just as I was about to destroy the Human Torch. Hey, don't get me wrong. We've all thought about it at some time, But why would you? Why? Because I am his greatest enemy. Peter Petruski, the one and only Paste Pot Pete. That's Paste Pot Pete, guys. Just so you know. And Spider-Man says, Paste Pot Pete? He goes, yes. And then Spider-Man just laughs in his face, repeats his name, and is just, he says, I think I shot web out of my nose, and is just laughing at this man's face until this guy just quits and leaves. So he can make his jokes and quips that throw off a bad guy where it doesn't talk about specific things.
Hmm.
And I think cancer culture tried to go a little AWOL with the idea that Dan was referring to, because you can't punish a fictional character for what they said because he's a fictional character.
Hmm.
What you can do is hold the writers responsible for being more creative with his quips,
Right.
and making sure that they're not making a joke that would possibly upset a small kid who's a fan of Spider-Man.
All right. Not going for the easy, like your mama jokes, but
Right.
not your
I
mama.
would say, if anything, I guess it's a telltale that they have lost creativity. Like, it's just a cop out. But I don't know. I also I just believe that sometimes jokes are jokes, but
Right.
my
But
way of belief is not the common anymore. So
right. And like he said, he was like, what, I mean, at worst we make the character less funny. If those jokes are really that funny, we make him less funny, which
Yeah.
is more to his character anyway. And if you think about it, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is funny, but it's funny because he asks like questions at the wrong time, and he doesn't know like what questions exactly to ask, and he's just kind of awkward.
He acts like
funny.
a teenager.
Right. And he makes his quips, also makes his jokes, but not those kind of jokes, which is interesting because that brings you back to Avengers Endgame, where everybody's making fun of Thor because he's gained weight. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, I think MCU is paying their writers a fuck ton more than comic book writers getting paid to be creative, but
Right.
that's a whole different issue.
Remember when Thor was like, I can bring back all the people. Do you know what courses through my veins? And War Machine was like, Cheese Whiz.
Yeah.
That could have been a different joke. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I definitely get what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think as a world, we're better than that at this. I mean, obviously not everybody's better than that, but we are better than having to go to a fat joke.
Yeah. And cancel culture is just a little ridiculous sometimes because not everything ages well, which means people learn that, oh, maybe we shouldn't make jokes like that, or maybe we shouldn't say things like that. And then if you learn from it and you don't do it anymore, then fine.
And it also, I guess, depends on the degree.
Oh, yeah.
As a minority, I'm not a big fan of, okay, we don't make those kind of jokes anymore. I'm like, well, you were in a time frame where that joke wasn't really funny in the first place.
Yeah.
The difference with that is, so if we want to go to that cancel culture, I kind of agree with it more because you don't have a choice.
Right.
Like, I get that being big is pretty solid on my choices. Like, I made a lot of decisions to get to this point.
Well, I would say without being an overweight kid, I don't know if necessarily as a kid it's so much more your choice than
Circumstances,
others.
I
Yeah.
guess, but I mean, I could, yeah, I guess. I just like, you don't get to choose to be black and Mexican, Cleve. I got to choose to be big.
No, for sure. I get you. And I mean, you've brought that up before, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I see your point of view. That's why I don't speak as much on it, and actually wanted to hear more of what your point of view was on it.
I've never been a huge fan of cancel culture, especially things that have already happened. Like, I don't know what people expect from them. Like, if you want to say, let's go in the future or let's go forward and make it better, like, okay, I'm on board, I guess.
And I think that's where Dan kind of had to step in, because cancel culture was like, South Spider-Man. I'm like, well, you can't. He's not real first.
Right.
But and it's interesting to me, you're not holding the writers of these individual panels responsible.
Right.
That's what I think is interesting.
You're calling for
holding
justice
Spider-Man
against a
accountable,
fictional
which
character.
he's a
Right.
drawing.
Well, he's and yeah, I mean, it's a collective of a shit ton of writers writing for him, depending on
Right.
the story, depending on the time frame. Like, yeah, I don't know. That just seems silly to me. But I mean, it is what it is. I guess, like I said, if they want to make it better, they want to make it better. That's great. But I think that, again, we go back to the budget that they pay writers. Writers are going to just try to crank out what they can, unfortunately, because they're not getting paid a lot.
I do have this panel where it says, please don't be. It's not that big a deal. In fact, you're the first guy who, in 6 months, who hasn't immediately pictured me naked. So I appreciate that. And this is like a Jean Grey character in the Ultimate Comics again. And then it goes to this panel and says, until now. And he says, sorry. He goes, are you done? And then it goes to this panel. And then she makes an angry face. And he looks at her again. And then it goes again. And he goes, I'm done. Which is an awkward joke. And a joke you didn't have to make.
Yeah.
This is a whole page in this comic. Just an odd one that I found while looking
weird
into
joke.
this. Yeah.
And Spider-Man is funny without doing that, because when I was making that table, there's Spider-Man comics on it, because I thought they were hilarious, because Spider-Man is funny.
Yeah, and like the panel I showed you where he just laughs on a man's face until he quits. Like, you're still using your humor to disarm the villains without, like, you got fat ankles and then the villain wants to jump off the building he's on. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that you hold Peter Parker, a fictional character, responsible for this, when different time, even though I don't hold different time to like the end all be all. Like, I can't be like, hey, I mean, 5 months ago I was at a park picking up kids, but that was in the past, man. Like, nah, man, that's still.
You mean it's not okay to go to an island where all the rich people go so they can have little children perform sexual acts on them? I don't understand.
It's okay as long as you get away with it, and then also
Yeah.
kill the man that knows everything about it.
Right.
You can keep a secret when one's dead.
That's a Pretty Little Liars.
It is. I mean, it's a song by an actual artist, but yeah, it's from that song. I don't know it from that show. I know it from that song.
Michael does it from that show, and that's telling.
I think Dexter used it also. Well, they made him sing it on the stream one time.
Yeah.
But I think
I had no idea what it was.
Oh,
it was on Dexter too, if I remember correctly, which I've never watched because I missed it when it came out. And I heard it didn't have a great ending. So why ever watch it?
it has a great ending if you don't watch the last 5 minutes. There's an ending that you
Sounds
think
like
is
it's
the
not a
ending.
good ending.
No, there's an ending where you're like, okay, it's ended, and then it keeps going. If you just take that piece out and throw it away, you're good.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I just
good, though.
felt funny about this whole topic because it's important, but it's not that big a deal. But I'm on board with, hey, going forward, let's get
Make
our act
Spider-Man
right.
have better jokes that are not.
Yeah, I
easy
mean,
cop-outs.
force your people to be more creative, but then we go back to pay your writers better. 'Cause
Right.
that's a plight that comic book creators have. Is they're not getting paid well to do anything. They're having to crank out a fuck ton of characters and a fuck ton of content to be able to make ends meet.
Yeah, because at a certain point, what makes Spider-Man not Flash Thompson his high school bully?
That's fair.
Mhm.
It's very fair.
I mean, I feel like Kingpin's got a lot that you can make fun of without going straight to fat. And here's a perfect point, right? I went to the Cowboys-Ravens game the last time they played, which is like every 4 years, like the fucking Olympics. So it was here in Dallas or in Arlington. So I went to the game, and I'm Ravens out, and the Ravens lost, and so I'm like, that's cool. So I'm walking in the car with Jennifer and my brother and his friend, and there's these three Hispanic women who have been drinking and are uh, quite heavy. And they are like, "Oh, come here, give us a hug. We're gonna give all the Ravens fans a hug because they're so sad, right?" So I played along with the joke. I'm like, "Get your hands off me," just playfully. But you know how playing with drunk people are. And
They take it a lot more seriously.
yeah, and they were like, "Oh, are you mad? Are you mad because you lost, loser, loser?" Like in my face, right? And I'm looking at these women, these three plump women, and I'm like, because I know what my brain wants to go to, and I'm like, nah, I got to be better than that, because the the first thing in my head was I didn't realize that the Gap made Under Armour because the shirts were so tight, but. Like I have to be better than that. You know what I mean? Like I can't just call these three women fat and then get on the bus and go to my car. That's not how the world works. You have to. So I made fun of the fact that like they're fucking stumbling in their high heels. Not that they would break. I was very proud of myself about that. But that's my point. Like I understand in the heat of sports, and Michael, you understand the heat.
I've said a lot of mean things, but
The
yeah.
heat of sports, how you want to just go. I hope your mother fucking falls down a well.
Oh, I think
and
I've said
never
shit
seen
like
again.
that.
And even just then, I wanted to say a meaner thing, but we're recording, and so I changed.
Yeah. I've talked about betting people's mothers before while playing, and I think I was in like middle school.
Right. So I feel like if I can do better in an actual heat of a moment, that people who have times to write a script, although you're right, I wish that it would be. What's so funny is it's hard to get those jobs, and then you're not even paying the people well for doing it.
Well, I mean, so like the official artists that actually are signed by DC get paid okay or decent, but most of the time they're ghostwriting or contracting out.
Right.
And that's where they're getting paid pennies on the dime. I don't know. Anyway, like I said, it's just a whole different.
And it sucks because it's almost like I wish you would stop, and then that way maybe they would appreciate you more. But at the same time,
Yeah,
there's
A
like making
million
money.
people in line right after you.
Right. And if you're not going to take it, someone behind you going to take it. And then you get Bill fingered.
Man, you get Bill fingered hard.
That's why I put Friendship Supreme on everything I put. I mean, Friendship Supreme on everything I post. Play drive me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that unfortunately, I'm unique in that. Like, I don't. When I was younger, fat jokes and stuff like that probably would have.
I would say you're super tough skinned, but you're also tough skinned now. I mean, not like you just got it, but at 32, you know what I mean. If I'm.
Yeah, no. When I was younger, like it did suck being called fat and stuff. I remember that, but like now, I've just it is what it is. It's I am now like, all right, that's me. Like it or not, I don't care. But yeah, no, I mean back then it would have sucked. But I also remember growing up and seeing that like all the fat people were always the villains. They were always portrayed like Vertex, how they did the boy in Vertex. Like that's just the common like. That's what you portray big people as. So I don't know. I guess it's just maybe it's jaded to it now.
Right, it's fair.
Or a sidekick.
But again, yeah. I mean, and again though, like younger probably would have sucked. But there's no fat superhero. But at the same time, this is what I was always explained to as to why there wasn't one was because if you have a like someone for them to look up to at a bigger size, then like they're gonna think it's okay. And in reality, like health wise, it's not. Like you're supposed to kind of encourage them to want to be more physically healthy, I guess.
I follow you. Like, we don't want people to feel like this is where. But at the same time, are you saying that you shouldn't just be happy? You know what I mean? Like, it's a real.
Yes, I should be happy,
real
but I'm
thin
pretty
line.
confident that I could probably die in the next 5 years and it'd be like healthy. You know what I mean? Like, that's issues I worry about now because I guess because, you know, I mean, partly circumstances, you know, kind of have a single mother, like you ate what you were given, and you know, I lived in basically the hood growing up. Like, you know, I wasn't supposed to go outside. So, like, there wasn't a lot of exercise and there wasn't a lot of good health food options. But, like, later on, I could have made better choices.
Right.
But, I mean, nowadays...
But at that point, you've grown in this, like, this is what you do.
Habits,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I certainly developed horrible habits. But at the same time, I would say that nowadays, there is a lot more positive imagery, positive messaging going out than there ever was before. You have singers and artists and actors and stuff like that that are bigger people that are doing successful and don't necessarily shame themselves, or people don't shame them for being bigger. Although, you know, I guess Lizzo gets shamed a lot. She's like super big on image positive
She
messaging.
is. Man, she'll wear some shit too. She don't give no fucks.
But, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yes, I think moving forward, we should create a more positive experience for everybody reading it. I don't know what else you would expect from the past. And like you said, you can't blame Spider-Man. There's hundreds of writers that you'd have to blame.
Right.
And then are you blaming the storyboarders, or are you blaming the editors? Or are you blaming the writers? Like, who was supposed to catch that and say, hey, this could be better?
Yeah. But I think that's at a point of itself. Like, there's so many people looking at this. Someone needs to speak up and be like, hey, maybe we make fun of, you know, his suit.
Bald.
Yeah. Bald.
But yeah.
Would that not hurt bald people's feelings?
Yeah, it would.
I mean, there's bald
And there'll be a
balding too,
cancel
bro.
culture in 3 years about bald people.
Anyways, let us know what you guys thought about this
one.
episode.
I do want to be clear. I see both sides, and I have no solution. Like,
Right.
I completely get it. But like you said, the writers are paid shit, and they're just gonna spit shit out and get their money. And
I think I'd be more upset with what was said to Bonesaw than I would about the fat jokes.
right, and that's, I mean, but you know what?
Why is that an insult?
I tried to find anything else like that. I really didn't find too much.
Yeah,
It was
that was
more
again
the weight.
early 2000s writing, because they thought that was funny. Those were the types of jokes they made.
Right.
I mean, but again, I don't want them to cancel all of Spider-Man. I don't like Spider-Man usually, and I wouldn't want a character to be canceled out because somebody made a choice to, you know, send an intellectual property in the wrong direction.
And you see that we have an MCU Spider-Man who doesn't rely on that and make it not a single
Ned
joke.
did lose a lot of weight, so
He
we'll see what happens.
did. That was nuts. He lost so much.
Yeah.
Good for him.
The actor that plays Ned,
his friend.
his bigger friend.
Yeah.
He lost a ton of weight on the off season, or not filming. But anyways, let us know what you guys thought about this. If you guys think they should cancel all of Spider-Man, if you have a solution. If you think that I'm crazy and an asshole, I understand.
This is meant to provide provocative talk.
Agreed. I mean, I agree with you that, like, I don't think there's a solution. I can see merit in both sides.
We'll stop. This is the easiest solution, but to obtain that is the tricky part.
I mean, they could just take it, learn from it, learn that those jokes just aren't aging well. They're not funny.
But if you guys want to reach out, if you guys want to reach out to us, you guys can hit us up on all of our social medias. That is Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, everything. It's Friendship Supreme except for Twitter. It is Friendship Supreme with no eyes, because all eyes are on the YouTube channel. If you type in Friendship Supreme in Google or Bing, you're gonna find us, guys.
Dang, we on that Bing?
We on that.
Don't
Bing
use
now.
Bing.
That's amazing Spider-Man shit.
That's
Use Bing to Google, and then find us.
oh god. But yeah, let us know what you guys thought. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it today. My name's Michael.
My name's Cleve.
My name's Stephanie.
Bonesaw is ready.